How's it going, everybody? Welcome in to another edition of the Mavs Step Back Podcast. I'm your host, Dalton Trigg. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Drew Johnson. This pod is coming to you a little bit later than usual after Game 2 of the NBA Finals. I was there. I was in the building at TD Garden. It was an insane atmosphere. Like I was telling DJ before we hopped on here, it took me 15 to 20 minutes to get hearing back in my right ear. After I left the arena and walked back to my hotel, it was crazy. And that crowd 100% is having an effect on this series, and especially Kyrie Irving specifically. So it's taken me a little bit to get back on here to do this pod, but there's no time like the present. I'm sleep deprived. I'm still on the East Coast now, and I'm I do miss the South. The South is different up here. They have some good food. There's some good things going on up here, but I do miss the South. But just we're gonna get into Game 2, DJ. It was closer than Game 1. It was a better effort, especially from the start. The Mavs led by as many as 7 points in the first quarter. They ended the first quarter only up by 3, despite several different things going wrong with Mavs role players and Kyrie, the co-star. Luka was unbelievable. He had them winning by 3 at the end of the first. They trailed by 3 at the end of the second, so at halftime. Then into the third quarter, Mavs came out strong, regained a 1-point lead, but then they found themselves down by 9 at the end of the third quarter because Peyton Pritchard hit an insane shot from near half court at the buzzer to put the Celtics up 9. And I called it when it happened. There was 3 seconds left in that third quarter. The Celtics put Pritchard in there, and I said, "Oh no, this is like literally what Pritchard does." I told my wife Amy, who was at the game with me, I was like, this is what's going to happen here. They put him in there. He's going to throw up a near half court shot and hit it. And sure enough, that's what happened. And even Jaylen Brown said after the game, like, hey, he's done this all season. And it was a momentum killer for sure. The Mavs could have gone into the fourth only down 6 with the ball. They went into the fourth down 9. They cut it to as close as 5 with about 50 seconds remaining in the fourth quarter. And P.J. Washington was driving in for a dunk, got pushed in the back by Jaylen Brown. The refs did not call it. You can't, blame the refs entirely, for the game when you miss. How many free throws did the Mavs? The Mavs missed 8 free throws on the night. They had 15 turnovers. They only hit 6 threes, and Luka accounted for 4 of them. And the Mavs ended up losing 105 to 98. So they're in an 0-2 hole. It's not looking good. Statistically speaking, the Mavs are at a great disadvantage because this has happened 36 times in NBA history where a team has been down 0-2 in the NBA Finals, and only 5 teams have come back from it. And the Mavs have been on the wrong side of history with that in 2006 when they were up 2-0 on the Miami Heat, and then the Miami Heat rattled off 4 wins in a row. So all that being said, I'm still kind of hopeful. And that's mainly like what I was telling you a little bit earlier, DJ, is I just feel like the regression to the mean especially with the role players' shooting percentages, I feel like it's going to come back around to give and especially since the series is shifting back to Dallas now, I feel like it's going to come back around where those guys are going to hit a few more shots. I know the thing with Kyrie Irving, him being cursed, the lucky curse or whatever you want to call it. I know that's played a factor. I think he's going to play better at home. I mean, I can't see Kyrie Irving choking in 3 consecutive NBA Finals games. I don't see it. And if it does happen, he really is cursed. because it shouldn't happen for a third consecutive time. But with them going back home, the shooting being way lower than what it has been all season, the Mavs shot 37% from three in the regular season and in the postseason. And so far through two finals games, they're shooting 24% from three. So that's going to come up. Luka's doing his thing. He just needs some help. He's averaging 31, 11, and 6 on 51% shooting from the field and 38% shooting from three. And he's like, his body is being put together with duct tape. So, so he's being an all-timer in this series. But who's going to step up and help Luka? Because the rest of his team just is not playing smart basketball. They're doing things they're not supposed to be doing. The role players that have specific roles, and they're trying to go outside of that. And part of that is because Kyrie isn't doing what he's supposed to be doing, as the co-star. And that's making other people have to try and do more. So what is your first of all, what are your thoughts on game 2 specifically? And then what do you think about my proposition that, things just by the numbers should get better in these next two games?
I think that game 2 was a tremendous missed opportunity. For the first time maybe in the whole playoffs, Boston could not shoot the basketball, at least not effectively, and not really until later in the second half. And we just couldn't take advantage of it. And a lot of it was because we were our own worst enemy. I mean, we've already discussed, role players not doing what they're supposed to be doing. We've supposedly surrounded Luka with a bunch of people who are great catch and shoot scorers, but accumulatively, they all like among everybody that's not named Luka Doncic, they made 2 of 13, 2 of 14 threes. What was that stat?
It was 2 of hold on. The Mavs were 6 of 24 overall. Luka was 4 of 9. So that was 2 of 15 for the rest of them.
Yeah, it's worse than I said it was. Anyway, that's unacceptable. If we're going to have a chance, we've got to get these people going because, number one, whenever Luka drives a lane, they're collapsing hard. They're bringing as many as 2 to 3 people in the lane, and they are daring these role players to do something about it. And they're not. They're not making shots. None of them are. Kyrie Irving is having a tremendous problem getting space against the longer, more athletic defenders that Boston has. I'll give Jaylen Brown credit. He does an excellent job on whoever he guards. I knew he was a solid defender. He might just be an elite defender. He is very, very good on that side of the ball. And he is without doubt their best player. I think that's an open and shut case. I don't think anyone is going to have any debate for that. If somehow we could get Kyrie the switches that he needs to where he, maybe we could switch him on to, even the Drew Holiday matchup isn't great for whatever reason. And the Derek White matchup for him hasn't been great either. But it also comes down to Irving just hitting shots in space. Like, it isn't like he hasn't gotten open looks. There have been several instances where he's had some catch and shoot opportunities, particularly from the wing, and he just hasn't hit them. And that's just very uncharacteristic. And he's not the only one who's playing uncharacteristically. You have people like Dante Exum and Maxi Kleber looking to go the length of the floor and trying to slam it down people's throats when that is not their game. That is not what they do. They are catch and shoot players, pure and simple. I know that Jason Kidd told P.J. Washington that he needed to be Magic Johnson for the night. That can't happen. Because you know what Magic Johnson can do that P.J. Washington can't? And I love P.J., but they're completely different players. Magic Johnson could handle the ball in traffic, in against pressure. PJ appears to have a significant issue with it. Now, when PJ, is single guarded, he can probably take you to the rim, especially whenever he's on his right. Like whenever he has the ball on his right, he can probably get you right to the rim. But whenever he is having to dribble against double teams and help, it's not pretty in the open floor. So he's not Magic Johnson. Quit asking someone to do something that they are not meant to do. Okay, because that's not the type of player he is. He is not a point forward. He's just not. Um, let's see.
Well, well, before you get into your next point there, the Maxi thing is what baffled me the most because I mean we've seen Dante Exum, he can get kind of out of control at times. We've seen that before, but his speed and him getting out in transition, he has had some good moments there too. Now it hasn't happened in the postseason, obviously, but in the regular season, you at least saw some plays there where it's like, oh, okay, well Dante Exum can do that as long as he's just not like the Tasmanian Devil. Maxi Kleba taking the ball all the way up the court, going coast to coast, and then trying to dunk on KP. What was that?
Dude,
What is he trying to do?
Dude, freaking Green did the exact same thing in game one. He tried to posterize KP. Listen, guys, stop trying to posterize a 7'3" kid. Okay, it's not going to end well for you. There was another one. Daniel Gafford. Daniel Gafford caught the ball in space in a fast break opportunity. And Daniel Gafford is all of what, 6'10"? He goes and tries to dunk on KP, gets it sent. Like, guys, stop doing that. Like, stop. Like, I know it's a bravado thing, and I know everybody wants to go dunk on the tall, awkward-looking kid, but the tall, awkward-looking kid is going to send it back, okay? He does it time and time again. Stop it.
Now, I will say this. Attacking KP, maybe it did something because he looked like he re-aggravated that calf strain. Now, after the game today when they asked him about it, he was just like, I will die out there. When asking him if he was going to sit out, he's like, I will die out there. So that wasn't saying that, yeah, my calf is okay, but, if he dies, he dies is basically what he said. So we'll see. Maybe being physical and attacking KP so much, we know that he's injury prone. I mean, as good as he is when he's healthy, it's just a fact that he's injury prone. So we'll see if that helps. But kind of branching off here again, DJ, and it does include Maxi Kleba, but it includes a lot of other people too. I've seen a couple different people today saying, oh, well, Luka, he has to do a better job getting his team involved, especially after game one because he only had one assist. But he had a potential 9 assists, I think is what it was in game one, and he only ended up with 1, and that's because the guys were just missing shots. He was finding guys. They were just missing shots. Now, They were still saying it after game 2 when the dude had a 32 points, 11 assists, and 11 rebounds, triple-double. And again, his body is put together with duct tape. He's out there just pouring out his heart and soul to try and get his team just one win right now in the NBA Finals, and his teammates can't do anything. Now look at this. This thing I just pulled up on the screen here is just from the first quarter. This is just the first quarter, and somehow, because of Luka and his brilliance, the Mavs had a 3-point lead after this first quarter. P.J. Washington at the 9:52 mark misses a driving layup. Daniel Gafford missed layup. Derek White blocks Kyrie Irving's 7-foot driving layup. Maxi Kleba misses 24-foot 3-point jumper. Derek Lively gets blocked by Drew Holiday on a 5-foot shot. Derek Lively, bad pass. Jaylen Brown steals. Pass wasn't anywhere near any Maverick. It was just a brain fart. Maxi Kleba misses a 22-foot jumper. Kristaps Porzingis blocks Maxi Kleba's 2-foot driving layup. Kyrie Irving travels. Maxi Kleba misses a 28-foot 3-point jumper. Daniel Gafford misses 2 free throws, and P.J. Washington lost the ball with Derek White stealing it from him. That all happened in the first quarter. That is awful. Like, what is Luka supposed to do?
I don't know, but I'll tell you this. The criticism for Luka Doncic not getting his teammates involved is absolutely absurd. The issue is his teammates are not making shots. And really, at times, they're not even making themselves available. We always teach kids whenever the ball is driven, whenever someone drives the lane and gets into the paint like they're supposed to, you are supposed to slide into space and slide into vision. That way they have an open person to pass the ball out to, because a lot of times the defense is going to turn their back to the person they're guarding, not really just to help, but also people have a tendency to ball watch. It's just, a fact of life. When that happens, you have the ability as an offensive player, if you're spotting up, to slide along the perimeter and get yourself open that way. And Luke is talented enough to where he will find you. Sometimes they'll slide into space like they're supposed to, and they will. Oh, this is a perfect example. Perfect example. Right in the pocket.
Yeah.
Right in the pocket.
Look at that.
And he actually made that one. That's crazy. But anyway, half the time they're not moving without the ball. They're just kind of stuck in mud. And whenever they actually do get an open look, kind of like this one that we're seeing right now, they just point blank missed the shot. And that can't happen. And I'm going to tell you what, against this Celtics defense, what they are giving away mainly is what you just saw right there, a shot from the wing, not the corner, not the top of the key, not a lob. They're giving them wing looks. And honestly, that's the easiest three-point shot in the game. That's what a lot of shooters prefer. I don't understand why we're not making more of them. But we have gotten more open looks from those two spots on the floor, each wing, time and time again, and we just cannot execute. And that's the biggest issue that we have. And, I talked about in my piece earlier about Luka, having turnover issues. He had 8 of them. He led the whole game in turnovers. But it's kind of hard to trust your teammates when they're just impotent. And that's the best way to put it. Luka's teammates have been absolutely impotent in this playoff series.
And I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. I guess the lights are just too bright for some of these guys. That's the only thing I can think of, because it's like, and here's another example right here. Josh Green. Look how they're guarding Josh Green on this play. Like, that's just disrespectful.
It's a wing shot, wide open.
Disrespect. Like, Josh Green is not statistically a bad three-point shooter.
Yep.
But the Celtics are playing it as, we're going to just play mind games with him and leave him so wide open that he's going to have to think, an extra second about it. And they're winning. They're winning the psychological warfare by doing stuff like this. Josh Green is going to have to step up and hit those shots. Maxi Kleber is going to have to hit some shots and not do stupid stuff like going coast to coast and driving on KP. Like, everybody's got to step in. Kyrie, I mean, I don't want to be too hard on Kyrie Irving, because the Mavs, just simply put, they're not in this position that they're in right now. They're not even in the NBA Finals without Kyrie Irving on both sides of the ball, not just offense. His defense has been incredible this playoff run too.
Yeah.
But, man, he is just not shown up. He's choking right now. And I mean, I hate to be that harsh on him, but he's got to step up. It's one thing for the role players, for the lights to be too bright in the NBA Finals. It's their first time there. The Boston crowd, like I said, I knew they had a great crowd. I knew the Celtics had a loyal fan base, and, they were all raucous and everything. I got that. I didn't realize just how loud it was in that arena until I was there for game 2. Like, it is insane. And I can see how it affects, especially guys like Josh Green, Maxi Kleber, the rookie Derek Lively, who, has really disappointed in this. I'm not going to say disappointed. I'll just say that he picked the worst time to actually start looking like a rookie, and he can't really help that. But, he hasn't been great either. But Kyrie, man, he's been here. This is his 4th NBA Finals, and through 2 games in Boston, he's averaging 14 points and shooting 35% from the field, and hasn't hit a 3. He's 0% from deep. So, I mean, that's a recipe for being down 0-2 in the finals. Let's start there. There's several things this Mavs team can do better going forward. but it starts with Kyrie Irving. Luka is holding up his end of the bargain. Kyrie Irving has to show up to the NBA Finals because he has not shown up yet, and he very much looks like a player that Boston has gotten into his head.
Yeah.
They've gotten into his head. You saw him talking with the fans a little bit, and then when he came off the court after game 2, he was holding up 5 fingers like, we'll see y'all back for game 5. And don't get me wrong, I love that confidence. I think you have to have that level of confidence when you're in this type of situation, but you got to go out there and back it up. Don't talk and then don't back it up. So, we'll see. The season is essentially on the line Wednesday in Dallas in game 3, and we'll see which Kyrie Irving shows up for that one.
Yeah, I have to say I didn't see this coming for Kyrie Irving. I really thought that he would be extremely motivated to produce in a multitude of ways, not just scoring, but he's been seemingly invisible. And you kind of have to wonder if the negativity that he is receiving from the Boston fans, if that's affecting him. But as a professional athlete, you have to be able to overcome those extraneous circumstances. And he isn't doing it right now. And you can tell, like, just by body language alone, what's happening out there is bothering him. It's really gotten into his head. It's really eating away at him mentally. And that can't happen to your second best player, who at times has been your best offensive option. Like, we need Kyrie Irving to get going. Above all else, we need Kyrie Irving to get going.
Especially at home. Like that. That's what I'm saying. Like, it's one thing to be like, okay, well, Boston got the best of you 2 times at TD Garden. The crowd was hostile. They weren't over the top. They weren't throwing stuff at him and stuff like that. But, it was relentless and loud Kyrie sucks chants throughout the game. Just loud in general. And every time he touches the ball, he's getting booed. Really hard. Like, it's not an easy environment to play in. But when you're a superstar, he had to have been expecting that coming into this series. It's a different thing playing in it, but it feels like just watching Kyrie these first 2 games, it feels like he wasn't mentally prepared for it. And that's what I don't get, because both of us knew coming into this series what it was going to be like for Kyrie playing in Boston. Part of me wonders if Kyrie didn't think it was going to be that bad, or if he was going to feel that much pressure and all that stuff. So that's the thing with me. He just doesn't seem like he was prepared. And that's what's kind of inexcusable to me. So we'll see. I have a feeling, to me, I just feel like it is impossible for a player of Kyrie Irving's talent and greatness to have more than 2. I didn't think it was possible he'd have 2 games back to back the way he did, but especially going back home to Dallas for games 3 and 4, if he has another stinker or 2 more stinkers and like the Mavs end up getting swept in this series, that's going to be a huge stain on his legacy going forward. That's going to be bad. So, he's got to pick it up. And look, this is how bad it's been. And I couldn't even be angry at seeing this headline from the Boston Globe, because I thought it was perfect for their side of things. But this guy from the Boston Globe, his headline on his article says, "At last, Kyrie Irving is finally helping the Celtics pursue an NBA championship." God. That's
brutal.
That's bad.
But again, how do you respond? Because up till now, you haven't. All the boos and all the Kyrie sucks chants. I mean, as far as I can tell, you've just gone into your shell. Do something. Do something.
Luka's doing something about it. It's his first time ever in the NBA Finals. And look, I think it was during game 2 in one of our, it was while game 2 was going on and Luka was doing everything and not getting much help. I posted in one of our chats that we're in, and I was like, Luka looks like 2007 LeBron James, when the Cavs were just completely overmatched by a more experienced and overall deep team in the San Antonio Spurs. I've got to take that back because, a little bit of revisionist history for me, because I went back and looked, and LeBron averaged 22 points on 35% shooting from the field and 20% shooting from three in that series.
Yeah,
Boobie Gibson.
Yeah, LeBron, I mean, all LeBron had in that. So LeBron played okay, but in that series, the main thing that LeBron got out of it was that poster that he got on Tim Duncan, and that's it. I mean, that's the moral victory that he got out of that.
Boobie Gibson shot like 60% in that series, I think.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I had to take that comparison back immediately after I looked up the numbers again, because Luka is blowing that out of proportion. He's averaging 31, 11, and 6 while shooting over 50% from the floor and 37 or 38% from three. So he's doing his part, and it's not easy. He's actually played better defense, or he played better defense in game 2 than he did in game 1. Anytime there's a lapse, it's just because he's so worn out. Like, it's not that he's not trying; he's just worn out, and that's because of the load. He's like, the way the Mavs have played in these first 2 games, it looks like the old Mavs, the pre-trade Mavs, the Mavs last year before they got Kyrie and they didn't have Brunson. Where Luka's usage percentage was through the roof and he was having to do everything, putting up these massive numbers, and yet the Mavs still didn't have enough to win because nobody else around him could do anything. That's what the Mavs have looked like in the first 2 games of these finals. Hey guys, we're taking a quick break here to tell you about Prize Picks. If you like daily fantasy sports, Prize Picks is the #1 daily fantasy sports app. It's super easy to use. You can pick the over and under on all your favorite players, not just the Dallas Mavericks, but any NBA games or WNBA games, or we got football coming up here in a little while. I mean, it's all kinds of stuff that you can take the over or under on, and you can use our promo code STEPBACK for up to $100 matched on your first deposit. So, for example, if you use our promo code STEPBACK and you decide to deposit $100, you'll have $200 in your account from Prize Picks matching that. So be sure to take advantage of this offer and have some fun with daily fantasy sports. But again, I don't think this is over yet. Like, until the Mavs, like if the Mavs go down 0-3, then I will concede and I will say this is over. But if the Mavs come out and they Kyrie has a better game, somebody other than Luka hits a few threes, and they come out with the same aggression that they did at the start of game 2 and just carry it out for 4 consecutive quarters. If they come out and win game 3, I really believe there's going to be a real chance that we could have a tied series going back to Boston for game 5. And then at that point, all bets are off because we know what Luka can do in those situations. So we'll see. I don't think this is over yet. Yes, the odds are stacked against the Mavs, but look, we've seen this team down 2-0 before, and it wasn't, they didn't have Kyrie at the time, and I know they didn't. I know that 2022 Suns team is not the 2024 Boston Celtics, but it was a 64-win 1 seed, and the Mavs were down 2-0, and they got their butts kicked really bad in those 2 losses. And then they came back and they won the series in 7 games. So, we'll see how it goes. One more thing, DJ, I do want to get your thoughts on just going into game 3 specifically. What has to happen with some of these other role players? Let's put aside Luka. Let's put aside Kyrie Irving. What do the role players have to do specifically in this game aside from making a few more threes? Let's say Daniel Gafford and Derek Lively, for example, and PJ Washington too. One of the big reasons that the Mavs were able to coast their way basically through the Western Conference playoffs was corner threes and lobs. And the Celtics have done a great job. I have to tip my hat to Joe Mazzulla. He has he has put a game plan out there that the Celtics have executed to perfection, and they have completely shut down the Mavs' lob threats, and they have shut down the corner threes. What do the Mavs have to do to combat that and get that back?
Well, you got to take what the defense gives you. You're not just going to be able to create lobs out of nothingness. You're going to have to get some movement out there. I think we can get some with some different variations of the screen and roll. I don't think that just straight screen and roll is going to work because they've done a really good job of packing the paint whenever we do go to that. And they always have someone out there ready to close out on the corner three or even outright deny it because it's just not there. A shot that has been there for us a lot. There's two things that are there for us pretty regularly. Number one is the 3-pointer from the wings. We need to be able to hit that shot. And as you saw on some of the film that you posted with Josh Green, I mean, literally, there's no one within a mile of these people whenever they're taking those shots. They have to hit them. They just have to hit them. And I know it's not all about shooting, but I mean, whoever scores the most points wins, right? So, we have to make the most of those opportunities of what they're giving us because if we just make half of those, we're golden. But if you're not Luka Doncic, you've only made 2 of them. So it's it's just unacceptable. Another look that's there for us a lot, and people may roll their eyes, but I saw it a few times and I really liked what I saw out of it, was the post-up opportunity for Daniel Gafford, specifically on Jason Tatum.
I
What the
love that.
Celtics are doing is they're placing Tatum on the big because Tatum has post player size somewhat. He's about 6'10", probably around 240. He's a big dude, but he isn't Daniel Gafford big and he isn't Daniel Gafford strong. I don't necessarily think you can hit Lively on post ups because Lively's back to the basket game just isn't there yet. Lively is truly a lob threat, and that's it right now as far as his offensive ability is concerned, unfortunately. Now, I think you could maybe get Lively in space, maybe get him, some mid-post opportunities. But again, Tatum's athletic enough to cut off most drives, and it's not a good matchup. But I really like the Gafford Tatum matchup in the post, and we were able to get some good stuff out of it whenever we went to. We were able to get some open looks. Gafford was able to get right to the rim because Tatum can't handle him down there. He's not strong enough. So I think those are 2 really big things we need to look to exploit. Obviously, I think the Gafford thing is a little bit more high percentage, a little bit more efficient than just, shooting open threes. But these guys are professional basketball players. They ought to be able to make an open jump shot, especially one from the wing, which is like the easiest 3 in basketball. It's a 3 that everyone hunts. I don't understand why we can't make them. So those are my 2 big things that I would like to see out of the role players. And really, I'd like to see out of Jason Kidd as far as what he's targeting. Always target what the defense gives you and then exploit it the best that you can. And we just haven't done that well this series. We've really just we've focused way too much on forcing things, specifically in isolation ball, and we really need to come out with a better game plan on how to exploit these openings the Celtics are giving us because they have to give up something. So we may as well take advantage of what they give us.
I wonder if the Mavs should be shooting more threes than what they are. Like I know they haven't shot the 3-ball well. In game 1 they only shot 26%. They were 7 of 27. In game 2 they shot worse, 23%, 6 of 26. But 27 and 26 3-point attempts against this Celtics team that can, we saw it in game 1. They had a 27-point advantage just by made 3-pointers alone. They hit 16 to the Mavs 7, but they also took 15 more threes than the Mavs did. So, that played a factor in game 1. In game 2, Same thing. Let's see, the Celtics hit four more threes, so that's a 12 pointed. Well, that's that. Yeah, that's a 12 point advantage in the 3 point department. Um, they hit more threes. They also shot 13 more than the Mavs did. And the Mavs, they won the rebounding battle in game two. They won the points in the paint battle, 54-46. But they couldn't hit enough threes, and they also missed free. There were so many things that had to go wrong for the Mavs to lose. Kyrie, another stinker shooting from the field. I think he was 7 of 18 overall. You miss 8 free throws. They also missed 7 free throws in game one. I mean, that stuff's unacceptable. 15 turnovers, only shot 23% from three. All that had to go wrong for the Mavs to lose by 7 in Boston. It's insane to me. But I mean, the 3 pointers specifically, I mean, should the Mavs be shooting more?
I don't know that you can necessarily outshoot the Celtics. Now, I'm going to tell you something right now that's going to blow your mind. So bear with me. We're not going to beat this team by outshooting them. We're going to beat this team by outscoring them. Now, those are two completely different things. I think that we need to be taking the highest percentage shot available possible. I think that anything right at the rim is really what you want to pursue, because you're not going to, yeah, exactly. Because you're not going to outshoot. You're not going to outshoot the Celtics. You're just not. If we were going to do that, it was going to be in game two whenever they couldn't hit the broadside of a barn, and we still couldn't do it. And truthfully, what did you say that points of the paint was? It was like 54-40. What
54
was
to
it?
46.
That's not that much. That's not that much for a team that does not look to get into the paint at all in the Celtics. They don't. That's not what they do. They're wanting to shoot threes. It's very obvious where they're wanting to make an impact. So I think that we need to exploit that mismatch in the middle, and look to attack the rim early and often. And I think that Gafford could really be a huge key in this, but we have to exploit that. But I don't think that you can outshoot this team. I don't mean to be negative about it. I just don't think that, the way, it's not just the fact that they have good shooters. It's that all 5 people on the floor can shoot it, and they're going to get an open look no matter what you do. That's just the fact of the matter. And if you can force them into taking contested twos as opposed to threes, you semi-win in a defensive possession. And I know it's crazy to think about having someone score on you being a win, but they shoot so many threes and they make so many threes that if you can prevent that a little bit and force them into taking some twos, and honestly, when you force them to drive the lane and make decisions, they turn the ball over a good amount. I mean, more than you'd think. They don't make the best decisions on the drive because they're just looking to drive space and shoot. And if you force them to attack, if you force them to drive, they seem to have issues. So force them into the paint and then outscore them that way. But you're not going to beat them by shooting threes. I don't think. I don't think you can beat them playing their game. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, look, I mean, this is the problem the Celtics present because, like you said, they're all so talented at shooting the ball, and not just shooting the ball. They just have such a vast collection of high quality role players who are good at doing. Drew Holiday said it best. After game two, he said, "I'm a utility player. I do whatever you need me to do." And the Celtics have a handful of guys who do that same exact thing. In game one, it was Jaylen Brown shooting 7 of 12. Uh, KP is shooting 8 of 13. So those were the two guys that dominated for the Celtics in game one. In game two, for the Celtics, it was Drew Holiday that shot 11 of 14 from the field.
That's crazy.
11 of
That's
14.
crazy.
He led the team with 26 points,
Do you want to know
11
something about that
rebounds.
guy? And you want to know why he's so successful in what he does? It's because, so we match up Kyrie Irving on him, right? And Kyrie Irving is a little bit smaller than Drew Holiday, both in, I think, height and weight. And so what they're doing is whenever they're not in 5 out, they go a 4 out, 1 in, and they put Holiday in the dunker spot. and they just and so whenever Holiday gets any kind of catch whatsoever, he doesn't have to go far from the rim at all. And so he can just put his shoulder into Kyrie, take him right to the rack, and score every single time. And whenever he's also very good at kind of delay, because he doesn't follow the ball. He stays he almost always stays opposite. And so whenever they do drive, they were able to get some really good actions on some dump offs to the guard, to Holiday in the dunker spot. Very peculiar looking offense. I don't think I've ever really seen anyone run anything like that before, where you stick a guard in the dunker spot. But it's very creative. It works. It forces the Mavs to put someone small guarding the dunker spot, therefore someone small closest to the rim. So not only is it good for Holiday in that retrospect, it's good for all the Celtics, because whenever they drive the lane and attack the rim, they have Kyrie Irving to contend with rather than, Daniel Gafford or Derek Lively.
You know what really annoys me the most about how these first two games have gone? The fact that Jason Tatum is still the betting favorite to win finals MVP.
That's awful.
When he has put up a disaster class shooting wise. Like, I understand, like, I get it. He, as tall as he is, he's going to grab some rebounds. That's a given. It's some of the passes. I mean, it's not Luka style passes where where he's having to work hard to get his guys open. His guys do a great job cutting and finding open spot on the floor and all that. So I get it. He's had some assists, some rebounds, everything. But man, this guy is, in game one, he shot 6 of 16, had 16 points. In game two, he had 18 points on 22 shots. He was 6 of 22. And yet his team is 2-0 going to Dallas. And that makes me sick, because the media spins that are being done for Jason Tatum right now is just, it's crazy.
I don't understand why. His running mate's done a much better job than he has. Jaylen Brown, they don't win these games without Jaylen Brown. Specifically, game one, it's a completely different story if Jaylen Brown doesn't just go nuts. Really, throughout the season, it's a different story if Jaylen Brown isn't there. I don't understand it. I really don't understand why the media puts Tatum on the pedestal that they put him on. I just don't get it.
Especially Doris Burke.
Whatever.
Doris Burke, she I don't know. She wants to talk about, oh, look how selfless Tatum is. He's so selfless. Doris, he shot 22 times. he shot 20. He shot the most. The next. Okay, so he shot 22 times in game two. The next highest field goal attempts for the Celtics were Derek White and Jaylen Brown at 15 apiece.
Yeah.
He shot 7 more shots and didn't hit more than either one of those other two guys I just mentioned. So, I mean, what are we talking about?
My favorite quote was whenever she said how much courage he has to keep shooting.
Come on, man.
I know at this point we're just being haters, and that's fine. I am a hater.
That's what the kids these days would call glazing.
Yeah, exactly. It's just it's gross, and Doris isn't the only one. I have the unfortunate pleasure of getting to watch First Take every morning, and
God bless your soul.
I'm telling you, it's a dark place that show is. It's a very dark place. Between Stephen A. and whoever the hell else is on that show, it just gets to be a little much at times. Yeah. But the glazing, as you say, is just, it's nauseating, and it needs to stop. If the Celtics win, fine, but give Jaylen Brown his flowers, please.
Or just the Mavs they have to get a win in Dallas, and you can't. To me, even if, and I think they need to. I mean, they got to win games 3 and 4, but don't go down 0-3. Don't go out sad like that. Come on, put up a fight, get on the board. get you some confidence going into game 4, which is also at home, and try to tie this series up going back to Boston for a game 5. Make it a 3-game series and just see what happens from there. This team has been too good and they have put too much effort into getting this far to go out sad that way.
Yeah.
They've got to get it together, and they're capable. I know the Celtics are great. I know they've got several guys that play elite level defense and they've got depth shooting and all that. I don't care. I don't care. The Mavs are talented too, and they have the capability to go out there and get this done. So we'll see. I mean, it's on everybody except for Luka, who's doing well. I take that back. Luka could be better with his turnovers.
He had 8 of them.
He had 8 of them in game 2, and he even said he's got to be better. But a couple of those turnovers aren't necessarily his fault. Like PJ taking the ball up the court, almost crossing over the half court line, throwing it back to Luka. It got deflected by Drew Holiday, and then Luka was like, "Oh, well, we're going to get a backcourt violation now." So he tried to throw it up to PJ, and it got stolen by Derek White. So
that's an interesting play. Sorry, are we sure that didn't actually get past half court before it got deflected back? Because if so, wouldn't that count? I might be showing it.
It should have been a. I don't think he did pass half court, but if he had, like, even if his foot had been, if the ball in his foot had been over half court line and he passed it back, it would have been a back court violation. But
yeah, but he didn't pass it.
Probably would have been better for the Mavs.
Yeah, maybe so. He wouldn't have given up a dunk. But I thought that he was past half court and he got deflected back into Luka's hands, and then Luka panicked and threw it because he didn't think it had gotten past half court. I thought it had gotten past half court. In which case, if that happens, the counter stops once you get past half court, right? If it gets deflected back into half court, then the counter restarts. Isn't that correct?
Yeah, that's right.
So I don't know. I don't know.
Go back and look at that. That makes. Let me see here. Hold on just a second.
Again, I could be.
I was looking on the NBA's page to see if they had posted it, and I see the phantom cam part of it, but it's not showing the full thing there. But I'll find it here in a second. But man, what a swing play that was. The Mavs had a little bit of momentum going on, and for PJ to do what he did in that position, and then Derek White steals it, throws it up to Drew Holiday. Drew Holiday just does a quick pass to Al Horford. Al Horford right back to Drew, and Drew hits a 3. That's huge. That just kills all the momentum. And then again, I thought the Pritchard 3-pointer at the buzzer at the end of the third was also a huge play. So, like I said, there is just so much that had to go wrong for the Mavs to lose game 2 the way they did. It sucks. I mean, it feels like they gave one away. And when you're on this stage, you can't be giving away much. So
anything really.
I know the Mavs the Mavs can't be eliminated on Wednesday night, but like I said, the season is officially on the line. Like this is it. I mean, you got to come out and you got to win on Wednesday, or this thing is over. You got to treat it like it's an elimination game, and I think Luka will. I think he will treat this as an elimination game. We'll see if Kyrie Irving can come out and do the same.
Well, one of my big things is we've got to stop beating ourselves. Like you said, we had 15 turnovers in game 2. And would you believe that the Celtics scored 21 points off those 15 turnovers? Again, and a lot of those turnovers that we saw were at really big moments in the game where we could have built momentum and built a lead, specifically in the first half. And then we would just have an inopportunistic turnover happen, and it would shatter all momentum, and we would be in a back and forth for the remainder of the quarter or whatever. And, we have to understand the timing of things, and we have to understand when and when not to take risks with the basketball. And we've just got to quit the stupid shit. Sorry, but we have to.
Yeah.
Because there is a lot of stupid shit going on as far as ball movement is concerned, as far as when and who we decide to pass it to. It can't happen. Or, role players doing things that are way out of character for them.
Yeah.
I mean,
And
you're
by the
just
way,
questions.
while you were saying that, I finally found the full play. PJ definitely crossed the half court line.
I thought so. I
He
thought so.
definitely, but it was deflected by Drew. Going back, so I don't know the exact rule
Can
on
you
that,
pull
but
it
yeah,
up?
what was PJ thinking? Yeah,
Can
let's
you?
pull this up.
Yeah.
Yeah, this was a huge momentum swing in this game. You down 8. There's 4 minutes left. You have a chance to cut it to 6 or even 5. Like what is he doing? What
And
is
also,
PJ doing?
how many seconds did we have on that counter? So let's just say,
Let's count it right here.
obviously. All right. So 1,
Let's see. Let's have it
2,
restart here.
yeah,
1,
1,
2, 3,
3,
4,
4, 5,
5,
6.
6.
There's
So
no need. There's
yeah,
no
so,
need for that pass, even if he gets it back there and it's not a backcourt violation, which I think it is. There's no
yeah,
need to do that. You still
yeah.
had plenty of time. Luka could have walked it across half court. He really could have.
So it's a double brain fart by PJ and Luke on that play, pretty much.
Like, oh my God. And that's the type of thing I'm talking about right there. It's just senseless turnovers that turn into open threes, 21 points off turnovers. And had we not given up 21 points off turnovers, I mean, Jesus Christ, we would have won by double digits. So, I mean, that's what's most frustrating for me is we literally beat ourselves. We couldn't take advantage of a poor shooting night, and we beat ourselves with poor shooting, turnovers, and just stupidity. That's the best way I know to put it.
It was really dumb. Like I was watching that in real time, thinking, man, there are so many dumb plays. Like it's one thing to get outshot by the Celtics. It's one thing to get locked up by the Celtics. It's a different thing to shoot yourself in the foot against the Celtics. Like what? I don't know. It was bad. But
Oh,
again,
we didn't just shoot ourselves in the foot. We fully committed like full blown basketball suicide with the
it was all.
turnovers. Like it was terrible.
Well, we'll see. We'll see who shows up for the Celtics on their Russian roulette offense in Game 3. You know, it was Brown doing it on both ends of the floor at a tremendously high level in Game 1. He kept that going on defense in Game 2, but wasn't quite to that level on offense, in my opinion. And it was Drew Holiday that took over in Game 2. KP had the hot hand in Game 1 as well. We'll see what happens in Game 3. Maybe this is the Tatum gets hot game for Boston, and if that happens, maybe he'll
God,
shoot.
no.
Maybe he'll shoot 35 field goal attempts, and that'll maybe that'll help the Mavs win a game. So
Brave, so much courage.
so brave by Jason Tatum to only shoot 22 shots per game. But yeah, look, this comes down to Kyrie. If he shows up, we know Luka's going to show up. He's going to show up no matter what. But will Kyrie show up? And if he does, Luka and Kyrie playing at an extremely high level, it lessens the pressure for everybody else around them, and maybe they can get a little bit of confidence and momentum going on in this series. But we'll see how it goes. We'll be on here. I don't know. I fly back home early Thursday morning. So I think we should be able to squeeze in another post game pod Wednesday night after Game 3. So we will try and do that before I catch a plane home. But guys, we appreciate y'all coming in here and listening to us every single week, every other few days, like it's been this postseason. We appreciate it. Be sure to go like, rate, and subscribe on all your favorite podcast platforms. Hit that subscribe button on YouTube and leave us a bunch of likes and comments and all that good stuff. We really appreciate it. It makes all this stuff fun. I know it's not as fun for Mavs fans specifically after what we've witnessed these last 2 games, but like I said, I mean this isn't over. I mean it's the first team to 4 wins, and we've seen it a few times over history. The Mavs have been on the wrong side of that history before. Back in 2019, the Bucks were down to the Suns in the NBA Finals 0-2. and came back and won 4 straight and won that series. So you never know. I mean, this is why you play the game. You go out there, you put your best foot forward, and you see what happens. So we just have to hope that the Mavs actually put that best foot forward. But guys, we appreciate it. Y'all have a great one, and we will see you Wednesday night.
Thanks, guys.